Item 10E, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with National Plant Services, Inc. for closed-circuit television CCTV inspection of sanitary sewer laterals in the Sharp Park Basin in an amount not to exceed $54,214.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Jimmy Tan, City Engineer. As part of the settlement agreement with the Regional Water Quality Control Board in May of 2011, the City was required to complete 2 supplemental environmental projects, one for the construction of the shade structures for the Marine Mammal Center in Sausalito, California, and the other is the Sharp Park Private Sewer Lateral Grant Program. The shade structure was completed in October 2011, and for the Sharp Park Sewer Lateral Grant Program, the City was required to set aside $199,622, which the City funded. The Sharp Park Basin is shown in the screen with the boundary highlighted in green. It was selected for the lateral program because the Sharp Park Sewer Pump Station was the site of 2 large sanitary sewer overflows during heavy storms back in January of 2008. Reducing the inflow and infiltration will help prevent future sanitary sewer overflows in this area and also lessen the overall impact on the city's sewer collection system. So intent of the grant program is to encourage the private property owners to replace old sewer laterals that may be the source of rainwater or groundwater flowing into the sewer collection system. And the Water Board established a target of 115 sewer laterals to be replaced within this Sharp Park Basin. And this program commenced back in September 2012, and several outreach programs were established and to notify the homeowners that's living in the area. There are a total of 305 homes within this Sharp Park Basin. So the grant program incentive includes reimbursing the homeowners with 50% of the costs, or up to a maximum of $150 for the video inspection work, and 50% of the costs, or up to a maximum of $1,700 for the lateral replacement. These amounts were negotiated with the regional board as part of the established of the grant program. Since the program started, a total of 5 properties owners have participated, and this agreement with the regional board is set to expire in October 1st, 2015. If the city does not meet the criteria of replacing 110 sewer laterals, the remaining funds of $190,000 that are allocated will be paid back to the state cleanup and abatement account as part of the agreement. So we discussed this project with the utility subcommittee back in November, and several alternatives were reviewed. One was to request a time extension with the regional board to continue the program. The other was to possibly increase the grant reimbursement incentive to complete the replacement of the remaining 110 sewer laterals, and also to continue the public outreach within this sewer basin. And the last item was to perform a CCTV inspection of the sewer laterals to determine how many defective laterals exist within the 305 homes in the Sharp Park Basin, and use this information to further encourage the property owners to take advantage of the program. The city contacted the Water Board and to request a time extension, and which was granted until October of 2017. This time extension will allow the staff to review the video information and perform additional public outreach to homeowners for replacement of these remaining 110 sewer laterals. In regards to the increasing the reimbursement incentive, the agreement with the Water Board is based on the number of sewer laterals replaced, not on the reimbursement incentive amount. So the Water Board didn't have any objections if the city wanted to increase the incentive amount of the program, but any increase cannot be applied against the settlement agreement. Therefore, the increase in the grant amount would be, if the city pursues with that option, the city would have to fund that separately. So the current focus is to hire a company to televise the sewer laterals to determine how many defects in the remaining 305 properties. And the request for proposals was issued back in December 2014, and the city received 4 proposals and selected them or evaluated them based on the company's qualifications in adherence to the objectives of the scope of work and qualifications of the project manager and their team, and then the innovative approach to reduce the overall cost of the CCTV inspection work. And its cost proposals that we received range between $54,000 to $112,000. So based on the evaluation, staff is recommending to award the project to National Plant Services to provide the CCTV inspection. The company is located or headquartered in Long Beach, but the regional manager is located in Walnut Creek. This company is part of the oldest and largest environmental services corporation in the United States. They have performed various CCTV inspections for other agencies like the City of Roseville, City of Alameda, and Shasta Lake. And the scope of work for this project will include cleaning of the sewer main lines, performing CCTV inspection of the sewer laterals, and providing the digital inspection videos as well as the inspection reports, and preparing drawing sketches showing the approximate location of the sewer laterals on each property. And staff estimates this inspection work to be completed by 2015, June of 2015. And prior to commencement of this project, staff will coordinate and reach out to the homeowners within the Sharp Park Basin to inform them about the project and the schedule. This project is an established CIP project with an appropriation of $65,000 from the Wastewater Capital Fund. The proposed CCTV contract with National Plant Services for $54,214, which is within the limits of the appropriation. Staff has also asked whether or not, if we do move forward with this project, do we get any credit back for this video inspection work from the grant funds? And the regional board denied that request. So this cost is in addition to the $199,622 that has been set aside for this the grant program. So therefore, staff is recommending to the council to adopt the resolution to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with National Plant Services for CCTV inspection of the sewer laterals in the Sharp Park Basin.
Good. Any questions of staff? Ken?
Through the chair. So just to be clear, there are 310 residences in that neighborhood. 5 have been, laterals have been replaced, so, and hence the staff report saying 305 remaining.
Correct.
How many have cleanouts at the property line?
I can't, I have no answer to that because it hasn't been surveyed, but as part of the CCTV inspection work, I think we would definitely have that number for you.
Your assumption, because it is a fairly new subdivision, what would you guess most of the cleanouts are either outside of the house or close to the property line?
Correct. Normally, it's set back behind the sidewalk near the property line.
Yeah.
And so, with these newer developments, then clean out would be, installed, but it needs to be verified.
So the goal here is to expend all this money, or if we don't, it goes to a state fund. So it's incumbent that we use it in that neighborhood. And obviously, we want to get some people to, some homeowners to share in that. And you're looking at 110 because the baykeepers want 115, so we've done 5. And if we don't, do we have a plan as to how how you would do that? Is that all the sewer talk is just confusing me.
So let me try and answer that. One thing that the city engineer did not indicate in his comments was included, or at least I didn't hear it, was included in previous reports, is our outreach efforts to this neighborhood have included staff in the wastewater division literally going door to door and trying to generate interest among homeowners to take advantage of a $1,700 grant. For a variety of reasons, people have, one of them we think is that this is a too low amount given the actual cost of the potential cost of sewer lateral replacement. So this is really our attempt to think of everything we can possibly think of to try and spur interest and activity so that our money can be spent in a productive manner in San Bruno. You do have a very clear option simply to say, you know, we've given it our best shot, but we'll continue to do outreach. We'll continue, maybe go door to door again. We can, you know, there may be some other things that we can think of, but there remains, even with this expenditure, you know, some probability that we're going to be giving money to the state, which was our vigorous effort to avoid.
Unless we decide to supplement.
If you decide to supplement, but that would be a potentially more, yes, we can definitely do that. We thought this, you know, if somebody came to my door and showed me a video picture and an analysis that said your lateral is very, very problematic, even though you may not be experiencing problems right now, let me show you a picture of what this thing is doing under your ground. We sort of think that might be a little more compelling than a conversation at the door.
But if I could just follow up, the discussion 20 minutes ago was about if we had that's why I asked the question, do you know how many have a sewer clean out?
Yeah, we do not.
Yeah.
We do not know.
Because if you came to my door and says, you know, the video says it looks bad and everything, I'm going to say, well, I got a clean out there, so City of San Bruno, fix it.
Could happen.
Thank you.
To the chair, really quick, I know there was a neighborhood meeting that we attended, or I stopped in, but there was a email chain. I know I'm on it. I can go back in and get it. I don't know if it would be of value also to reach back out. The neighbors had all that were there put an email group together, and they were talking about videoing. I'd be interested to see how many of them have actually went ahead and did that. They were trying to collaborate and get one company to do all of them and then reduce the costs. So my reason for saying that is you may want to go out and see what has worked. Are they really beyond that point? Have they all done the videos and they say, you know, forget it? I know in the city of San Mateo, they have the program where they incentivize individuals to go ahead and be proactive, and I know they stopped taking applications or approvals in February of this year because the money's spent. So there are things that other communities are doing and they can do that I think maybe if we just tweak a little bit or find out from those individuals that were there that night what their status is.
And the meeting that we had, I think it was in May, we did get some activity, pretty vigorous activity after the meeting regarding videos, and we had, as memory serves, about 5 to 8 people that got together and hired a company, and the same company, and went out and did the videotape. And out of that, we had one sewer lateral replacement and one grant reimbursement. So of those 5 to 8, one of them I remember saying, well, it's not too bad. The plumber said, you know, there's a couple little things in there that weren't ideal, but it's not going to fail and anytime soon. So again, we could do a number of things. Another public meeting, going door to door was very effective, at least putting the information out there, and it's just an ongoing challenge. We've reached out to the water board and asked what other agencies have done, and I've spoken to several agencies to ask them how they've gotten their SEP programs to be successful, and some of them have done some mandatory replacements as part of paving projects. Others have offered increased grant funds. So it's sort of all over the place.
And I would say your door-to-door education campaign, whatever the word you want to use, were so successful that night that there were people outside the perimeter because somebody across the street had told them about this meeting, and so they came and then became a little like, oh, wow, so I live across the street, it can't include me. No, sorry. So, yes, it was so effective that you even had people that weren't eligible. Mm-hmm. But it was effective.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? No? You have a comment?
Jim Evangelist, 105 DeSoto Way. I think a little historical perspective on this neighborhood up here. In the 11 years I worked there, and I have a colleague who worked at San Bruno Wastewater for 20, there lateral problems almost are non-existent. That's why the homeowners are sort of like, well, why are you bothering me about this? Because they don't really have a lot of lower lateral, upper lateral problems. The main problem, the reason this SCP was put in place is because in 2008, at least this is my contention, there was a 756,000 gallon overflow out of that pump station at Chart Park. And that was caused because of I&I, inflow and infiltration. This is the negotiated settlement from the wastewater management with the state. I'm not going to pass judgment on whether or not it was a good settlement, but this is what we're kind of stuck with as a city. It's really about the I&I into that lift station and the inability of that lift station to handle all the water that comes in. The assumption was, I think, during the negotiations, is that if we can get a hold of these laterals, we'll reduce the amount of water coming in during a storm to the pump station, and it will be able to be shipped away without causing an overflow. But it's not addressing probably the main cause, which is the sewer mains in that whole neighborhood, which will collect a lot more water than the laterals. At least I think it will. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any action by the council?
There are methods to check the mains without a lot of effort. You can TV those and do it before a rain and then during a rain, and see where the water seems to be coming. You'll probably see it coming right through cracks. When mains fail, sometimes they fail from a point load. You can see the top, for example, is just collapsed. But more likely you'll see a crack along the pipe and water will just spew in there. And it does it very, very effectively because it has essentially water from the top of the street down to the bottom of the pipe. So there's a lot of pressure behind it. And that's the way you get big flows into it. So if you wait next rain, if you have TV equipment and you check those pipes, you may find out an awful lot by yourself. I would think with a good TV crew, you could cover the whole area during one storm. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Once again, Michael?
One quick question. Do we have any video of the sewer mains in that area?
We do, yes.
And was there anything apparent in there? Any large defects that could be causing a lot of infiltration?
To our knowledge, no, there's no large defects, but as part of this project, the mains will be televised as well as the laterals. So we'll have two dual inspection that are being done as part of this one project.
Okay, we're getting a little off track here, so I think you had your time. You had your time, Jim. Thank you very much.
That's it?
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Any more discussion or action by the council? Irene?
Thank you. First of all, I want to congratulate you for getting the extension. That's great news because we were sweating it out on the subcommittee level when we were discussing this, and we did have an extensive discussion. I think people have to keep in mind we have to do something or lose the money, and I personally, I'm sure the rest of the council would prefer that we keep the money in San Bruno, and the solution to doing that is getting people to fix sewer laterals, and how to find out if they need their sewer laterals fixed is to televise them or videotape them. So unless there's more discussion, I would like to introduce a resolution to go forward with this program.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.